Okay, guys, right now what we're going to be talking about is the period of a sinusoidal function, but we're not just going to talk about the period. We're going to talk about everything you could possibly see in an equation. So what I'd like you to do right now, please, in your journal, write down h of x equals a sine, open parentheses, bx. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video. Something horrible was happening in class. I had to stop it from happening. All right, so here we go. Put bx minus c plus d. Okay? In this particular video, we are only going to be talking about the a value and how to use that, the b value and how to use that, and the d value and how to use that. We are saving c for later. Today we're just talking about A, B, and D. Now, this also corresponds to not just sine graphs, but it also refers to cosine graphs. So whether it says sine or cosine, this will not matter. So in your journal, if you could just put both of these, I want you to understand it doesn't matter whether it says sine or cosine, it's still the same. I'll call it g of x just to make it, seem like it's has its own identity. Okay, there we go. So whether it's h of x or g of x, the a value is still the a value, the b value is still the b value, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So right now, in your journal, please write the absolute value of whatever the a value is referred to as the amplitude. Now, why do I say the absolute value of the a value? Because sometimes the a value is negative and the amplitude is always positive no matter what. And if you're wondering what the heck is amplitude, just remember, like if we have a sine of x graph that looks something like this, I better change it from black. There we go. So this line is what's called the midline. What's the amplitude, everybody? From the midline going up. So sorry, my bad, that's the b. It's the a value right there. So our amplitude in our problem right here, what would be the absolute value of our amplitude? It's just a 5. So I'm going to put the a value is equal to 5. So that's the a value. Okay? Over here, we have the d value. Now, the d value always represents the midline, not the absolute value of d, just d will always be the midline. So what does it say our d value is equal to? -3. So we'll put -3. Now, understand the midline has an equation. Our midline would be y equals -3. So the midline is always an equation. Y equals a constant. That constant just happens to be the d value at the end. Yeah, y equals whatever the d value is. So if you want to put y is equal to whatever the d value is for your midline, okay, that's totally okay. The last one, which is the most difficult, but it's not bad, okay? It's not bad. Does anybody remember what the period of a regular sine of x function? Remember, that was our y equals -3. What's the normal length of the period of a sine of x function or a cosine of x function? What's the normal period from beginning and to end? All right. So that normal period is 2. All right, but period, right? Period equals 2 pi. So normally the period is equal to 2 pi. However, if you want to find the period of any sine or cosine graph, the formula will be 2 pi over whatever the b value is. So this is what I need you guys to put into your journal so that you have it and never forget it because you have it in your journal. So the b value does not give you the period. This is the part where students will make a mistake. They'll think the b value is the period. The b value helps you find the period. So the a value is the absolute value of A is the amplitude. The D value is the midline. The B value helps you find the period. So let's just check this out. What is our B value? Is up here. What do we see it as? It's a 4. Okay, so our B value right here is a 4. So all I got to do is literally do 2 pi over 4, but make sure if it's a fraction, make sure if you can reduce it, reduce it. Now, what does that mean? That means my period is pi over 2. Now, that you're like, what? That doesn't make a whole lot of, like, what does that mean? That means literally it only takes pi over 2 before it's finished for that one cycle. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do, my rest of my classes, they're going to be fine. I'm just going to do a demonstration so you don't have to watch this, but I want to show you how it shrinks the period when you change the B value. So right now I'm going to go over to, I think I have some Desmos here, right? So check this out. If I did the regular sine of x graphs and put sine of x, okay, I'm going to change my screen. Let me change it to 0, and then let's see here. Wow, it's really big. Oh, change that to 2 pi. There we go. And then let me change my y values to negative. I'll put -2, and then I will put +2, because I want you guys to see how it works. Okay, +2. Okay, so can you guys see that graph right there? That's the sine of x graph. Now look what happens when I change this number right here and I put a 4. So I'm going to go back, take a screenshot, not of that. Take a screenshot of this, okay? Then I'm going to go in here and take a screenshot of this, and I'll explain to you guys what I see when I see this. So here's the last thing. Check this out. Would you guys agree that you can easily see that that goes up and down and back up how many times? It goes 1 time, right? But check this out. Oh, dadgummit. Look how many times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and if you could see it, 4. So how many times within 2 pi does it happen? It happens how many times? 4 times. But what's the period of just one of them? The period of just one of them is from here to here. So that's why I did what? I did 2 pi, and I divided it by a 4, and that's why the period is just what? Pi over 2. Okay? So on this particular problem, if I said, what is the period given exact value, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to put pi over what number? 2. Okay? So I'm going to type in the 2 right there. Okay? I'm going to do one more dealing with the period, and that's it. Okay? One more dealing with the period, and that's going to be all of this video. So what is our B value right now? Our B value is what? 2/3. So I have to literally take 2 pi and divide it by 2/3. Now, if you wanted to do this by hand, all you'd have to do is multiply the denominator and the numerator by its reciprocal, because these will cancel out. And this 2 will cancel out this 2, and you're going to be left with 3 pi. That's how you do it by hand. If you're wondering, what the heck did you do? I'll do it one more time. I did 2 pi over 2/3. And how do you get rid of a fraction in the denominator? You multiply both sides by the reciprocal. This 3 cancels this 3 out. This 2 cancels this 2 out. And this 2 cancels this 2 out. And we're left with 3 pi. Okay? Now, let's say you didn't cancel the 2's out. That's okay. Check this out. What's 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6. What's 6 divided by 2? You still get what? 3. All right, so right here I'm going to type in 3 pi. All right. That's it for the period. That's the hardest one. Okay. The period's the hardest one. It's not. I kind of skipped over the other ones because look at this one. Ready? Hey guys, what's the midline? Scan it. What's the midline? 6. See, it's the d value, right? All right. So that's pretty easy, right? Amplitude. Hey guys, I don't see a number in front of that cosine. So what number has to be in front of that cosine? 1. So the amplitude's got to be 1. All right. Okay. All right, how about this? Ooh, guys, be careful. What's the amplitude of this? This will be the last problem idea. Yes, 4. Because remember, the amplitude is the what? Is the absolute value of A. So if the amplitude, if I say, what's the absolute value of -4? That's a positive 4. So remember, the amplitude's never going to be negative. I've had so many students say, you're wrong. I got a negative. I'm like, dude, the amplitude, usually it's a dude. Dude, it's not a negative. It's a positive. All right. So the amplitude is 4, not -4, positive 4. All right, good luck. Hope this was helpful. The main thing I want you guys to understand, I'm going to go back to the main notes right here. This is the good stuff right here. All right. You got to know the amplitude is the absolute value of A, the midline's D, and the period is always 2 pi over your B value. All right, it's not the B value. It's 2 pi over B. Have a good day. If not, just have a better day.